staying at home and making things that are beautiful for yourself and to give as gifts to other people. And she's been a huge influence on people. And then, of course, Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the World Wide Web. Without the web, all these people who are doing crafting and DIY wouldn't be able to find each other. And it would really slow down the progress of the whole DIY movement. So he's definitely in my roster of heroes. Okay, so now I want to look at what happens when bits and atoms get together again. For a long time, the internet was pushing the physical world away, and people were just interested in what was online and the virtual and the abstract. But the internet is now bringing back the physical world into it, and this mixture is exploding into this DIY movement that is just incredible. And so, as an example, there's a group of people who started in the early days of Usenet, the alt.coffee Usenet group, where they're hacking their coffee machines and trying to figure out the best way to make espresso. And so it turns out that if you control the temperature of the water very tightly, that makes all the difference in making a really great cup of espresso. So these guys who work at the National Bureau of Standards are posting their temperature measurement results online, and they said, I'm going to hook up this device. You can see it on the left. It's a little box. It's called a proportional integral derivative temperature control system, and it really locks the temperature in. I'll just go over here. On a typical coffee machine, when you heat the water up, it goes up, and then the thermostat clicks off, but the heating element is still hot, so the water continues to heat. And then that's called overshoot. And then it starts to cool down, and then it clicks on, but it takes a while for the heating element to heat up. So you get this oscillation, and the swing can be as much as 40 degrees. But with PID temperature control, you can see it just shoots up to the desired set point temperature, just what you want, and it just stays steady the whole time. And then when you pour a shot of espresso, it drops down because you're pushing the water out of the boiler. But then it goes right back up. So anyway, I bought one of these kits, and these guys are now selling kits, and I put it on my machine, and it's great. But the cool thing is that the companies, the big commercial companies that make espresso machines saw this, and they had never thought of it themselves. And so now in 2005, they started putting PID into their machines, and these are like their $12,000 machines. But it took someone from the do-it-yourself world to come up with this innovation and present this kind of improvement to the 100-year-old espresso industry that has teams of researchers and developers who should have discovered this a long time ago. And so here's an example of some of the expensive machines that have PID on them now. Another thing that's really helped in the maker movement is being able to find materials that you need. Before the internet, if you wanted to find materials for like a Tesla coil, for instance, which is a device that generates a static electrical charge, and then once it reaches its full capacity, it throws off these bolts of energy like lightning, bolts of lightning. If you wanted to make that in the old days, you'd have to kind of hunt around for the parts that you needed, and it was more difficult to find that stuff. On eBay, you just type in Tesla coil, and you can if you want, you could buy a Tesla coil that's completely made, or you can buy the parts that you need, the raw materials, whatever you need. eBay and other sites like that are like amazing sources. A site like United Nuclear sells uranium ore. Where else are you going to find uranium ore? You're not going to find that at the corner store. But online, it's just a Google search away. Whatever you want, you can buy. Immediately blogs started popping up to address this new movement in arts and crafts. So one's Crafter that showcases the best crafts online. That's a little cover for an iPod there. And then there's all sorts of special interest groups online. So there's one that I really like because I make cigar boxes. It's called Cigar Box Nation. And people get together and they share their photos and videos and songs and instructions. They sell the fret wire. Anything, if you're interested in cigar boxes, this is where you go. Before the internet, if you were interested in cigar boxes, the chances are if you went over to your next door neighbor's house and said, "Hi, are you interested in making cigar box guitars?" They would say no. Nobody on your block wants to make a cigar box guitar. But if you go online, within 10 minutes you're going to find 1,000 people who love cigar box guitars and want to help you make one. It's an amazing development. Another example of a special interest group is a DIY drone group. This was started by the editor-in-chief of Wired, Chris Anderson. And what he's done is he and his colleague have developed a little circuit board that you can put into a standard remote control airplane, a $50 airplane, and it will fly by itself without a remote control or anything. You just open up Google Maps, and you can click on different waypoints on the Google map where you want the plane to go, and it will just fly around in the pattern that you specify and take photographs or video as it flies around. This is the kind of thing that military technology, 3 years ago, a drone like this would cost $100,000 minimum. Now you can buy everything you need for about $300 or less and have it delivered to your house, and you can program it and wire it together at home. And there are plenty of people out there who will be delighted to help you and make sure that it works. Another group that I belong to is called the Backwards Beekeepers. We're an LA-based group of beekeepers who believe in raising bees the natural way. And so we meet online and trade information daily, but we also meet in person every couple of weeks. And it's a great collaboration where we set up questions and things, and then when we meet in person, then we say, okay, here's the question you had, here's how you do it. And then, we show someone we have our hives there so we can demonstrate what we've learned. That's hard to see, but that's an automatic chicken door I made from instructions on the internet. That's so my chickens can get in and out of their coop. So it opens in the morning at about 6:30 in the morning, and then they run around the yard, and then they go back in the hutch around 9 at night, and then the door closes. And so there's a big community online of people who raise chickens and want to have this kind of automation, because if they leave their house for a couple of days, they want to make sure their chickens are safe in their coop at night so that the coyotes or raccoons don't get them. So that was all the recent past, and now what I want to look at is the present and the near future of the internet age of the do-it-yourself movement. And that includes learning how to make things, designing things, producing the things, and selling the things. There are resources out there right now for anyone to do all that stuff, whether you're a hobbyist or a small business person. It's all available, and it's either free or inexpensive. There's a site called Instructables.com, which is an incredible site started by some MIT graduates, and people just post their step-by-step instructions for making things. This is step-by-step instructions for making a home planetarium. And the cool thing is that people can add on to this in a wiki fashion to show their improvements and iterations on the original design. And so you get this kind of refinement over time of the work and commentary. It's a fantastic resource for learning how to make things, and the search engine works really well. So if there's something that I need to know how to make, I go to Instructables first, and I go to YouTube second, actually, to see if there's a video there. Make Magazine has a really good online presence, too, that shows you how to make tons of different things, and we have a lot of projects on there that aren't in the magazine, and we have a forum. I brought a copy of the magazine you can pass around, too.